All right, looks like I am live. Hopefully everything is doing what it should be doing. All right. All right. I think I'm good. I was worried that maybe the sound wasn't coming through, but I checked the equalizer and everything looks good. So I hope you're all doing well. Um, I know it's been a long time, and we're all anxious to things to get back to normal, and I think we're moving in the right direction. So we just gotta just be a little more patient, keep supporting each other, and just get through this. I know a lot of people have reached out and they really like to know when, when the main building will be open again. And as of right now, we are still very committed to serving you all the best we can remotely, whether it be through Facebook here, through GoToMeetings, telephone, and the food deliveries. And we're just as anxious as everyone else to get back. So, hopefully we'll hear some good news soon. But like I said, we're just committed to doing the best we can given the circumstances. So, with that being said, I do hope you're all doing very well. And welcome to Mindfulness Fridays with Dan. So, I've just got a couple quick things that I wanted to do today. Nothing too major, but I'm going to kind of just jump right into it. The first one has to do with like a mindful wake up. You want to start each day with a purpose. So there's this one word that I use a lot in my daily life, and the word is intention. And I think that there's so much meaning behind intent. And it could be talked about in several different topics, but it's also very I'm losing the word. It's relevant to mindfulness. That's what I was looking for. So I am just going to read off this little paragraph of a site that I found, which would give some mindfulness tips to people who are just starting off trying to be more mindful. So under this mindful wake up, start with a purpose. Intention refers to the underlying motivation of everything we think, say, or do. From the brain's perspective, when we act in unintended ways, there's a disconnect between the faster unconscious impulses of the lower brain centers and the slower conscious wiser abilities of the high centers like the prefrontal cortex. Can't talk today. That's like a mouthful. That's like speaking another language to me. Given that the unconscious brain is in charge of most of our decision making and behaviors, this practice can help you align your conscious thinking with the primal emotional drive that the lower centers care about. Beyond safety, these include motivations like reward, connection, purpose, self-identity, and core values. Okay, so let's just try to put this into just regular, everyday terms. Setting an intention will, try to keep those primal motivations in your mind, and you want to strengthen the connection between the two. By doing this, you can really change your day and make it more likely that your words and actions and responses will be more mindful and compassionate. So just to kind of simplify that, if we go in with the intention of being more patient, being more compassionate, being more empathetic, we're going to see those behaviors come out on the other end. It's really simple when you think about it. They use all this, technical wording, but it can be really simply stated that just if you go in with a certain intention, there's a good chance that your behavior on the other end are going to come out lined up like that. So that's pretty a simplified way to look at it. So they have a list of a few steps here on how to actually incorporate this practice. The first step says, on waking, sit in your bed or in a chair in a relaxed posture. Close your eyes and connect with the sensations of your seated body. Make sure your spine is straight but not rigid. Now I have trouble with that. I've done some like mindfulness and meditation groups in the past, and they're usually big on making sure that you sit, straight up, with your feet touching the floor, and they kind of use the term like a dignified posture. I have terrible posture, so that one's tough for me. I like to just slouch, and as horrible as it is for my back, I can't help it sometimes. But if it's comfortable for you, they suggest trying to use these, straight up postures. The second step says take 3 long, deep, nourishing breaths. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, again, this is something that I differ a little bit with. I do not like the breathing out of my mouth. I tend to just breathe in through the nose and then out through the nose. But again, do what's more comfortable for you. That's the great thing about this, is you can really tailor it to what you're comfortable with. So once you're doing this breathing, let your breath kind of settle into its own rhythm. Just follow it in and out. Notice the rise and fall of your chest as you do it. I just want to make sure that my microphone is working okay. All right. I guess I just wasn't that close to it. Let's see. So the next part is ask yourself, what is my intention for today? You can use some of these examples here that they give here. You can ask yourself, how might I show up today to have the best impact? What quality of mind do I want to strengthen and develop? What do I need to take better care of myself? During difficult moments, how might I be more compassionate to others and myself? Or how might I feel more connected and fulfilled? Those are just a few examples. I mean, you can come up with many others. For myself, I tend to kind of use things that kind of puts me in a mindset that I'm going to be productive and motivated to do things, because sometimes I can struggle with that. So the fourth thing says set your intention for the day. So an example could be, today I'm going to be kind to myself. Today I am going to provide myself with self-care. Something like that. It could be, today I will be more patient with others, or I will give generously today. I will still stay grounded. It could be as simple as, today I'm going to have fun, or I'm going to eat well today. Anything that you feel is important, you can use. And as cheesy as it sounds sometimes, it really does make a difference when you just kind of put it out there in words to start your day. And on the fifth one, it says, throughout the day, check in with yourself. So take a pause, take a deep breath, go back and revisit what your intention was from earlier in the day. Notice, as you become more and more conscious of your intentions for each day, how the quality of your communications, relationships, and your mood shifts. There's a lot of words to kind of get a simple point across, but when you just take it at its, just the bare minimum of it, it does make a lot of sense. So I'm just going to totally simplify all that in just a couple quick words, and just be, start out your day and put it into words what you need and what you want for that day. I think that's a simple way of putting it. A second really quick one I was going to go over had to do with mindful eating. And this one's tough. I know I've brought it up before in the past, but I tend to be someone who, when I eat, I'm not even really enjoying the meal, because I'm just eating fast and just getting it done with. But sometimes it's really nice just to stop and just really just enjoy eating. A couple suggestions I get for that is, doing some breathing before you eat, just to kind of get you kind of a little bit more calm, transition yourself, just getting in that mindset. Um, the other ones, they say listen to your body. I'm not going to read the paragraph that's here. I'm just going to go over the suggestions. It says eat according to your hunger. How many out there are boredom eaters? Because I know I definitely can be. If I'm not, yeah, I may not even be hungry, but if I have nothing else to do, sometimes I just might eat just to fill up that little block of time. Practice peaceful eating, they suggest. What is peaceful eating? You know? The example they give is at your next meal, sit down and continue to breathe deeply as you eat. It's not easy to digest or savor your food if you aren't relaxed. Well, that's pretty true. I'll definitely have to agree with them there. Ooh, number 5 here says, if you don't love it, don't eat it. Take your first 3 bites mindfully. Experience the taste, flavors, textures, and how much enjoyment you're receiving from a certain food. Make a mindful choice about what to eat based on what you really enjoy. That's a good suggestion. I kind of like that. Very interesting. All right, so I had one other little exercise that I put together this morning. I've seen it before, and I kind of just tweaked it a little bit just to kind of, I guess, make it easier because, as you'll see, some of these things it might be really difficult to do. Not difficult, but just, you'll see what I mean in a second. I've got something called the 5 senses exercise. This exercise is called 5 senses. It provides guidelines on practicing mindfulness quickly in nearly any situation. All that is needed is to notice something you are experiencing with each of the 5 senses. Not each of the 5 sentences. Senses. But, so basically, you know the 5 main senses. We've got sight, we've got hearing, we've got smell, taste, touch. So basically, you're just going to kind of come up with some of these things you're experiencing in the moment. So the first one you'd start with is with notice 5 things you can see. Now, it'd be nice to be able to do 5 for each one, but that could be very difficult. I mean, if you're sitting in a small room with really not much going on, you may not have 5, smells that you'd be able to smell. So we're going to kind of just tailor each one and kind of make the number correspond with something that's more likely. But 5 things you can see definitely, shouldn't be an issue. So look around and bring your attention to 5 things that you can see. Pick something that you don't normally notice, like a shadow or a small crack in the concrete if you happen to be outside, or, me sitting in my room now. I see like a little fuzzball that came off of an article of clothing. So that's something random I can pick out. I am going to put this up on the screen. There we go. So, after you notice 5 things that you can see, move on to 4 things that you can feel. So, some examples for me is, I feel my feet on the floor right now. That's something I can definitely feel. I feel this headset on my head and, touching my ears. I feel a cool breeze from the ceiling fan I have going. And, what's another one? Well, I can feel the sensation of my breath as I breathe in and out. Okay, so that one wasn't too bad. Let's see. So then you'd go down to 3 things you can hear. Take a moment to listen and note 3 things that you hear in the background. Could be a chirp of a bird, hum of the refrigerator, faint sounds of traffic from a nearby road. I had my air conditioner running a little while ago, so I definitely would have used that one. But I shut it off because it's just too much background noise when I'm trying to record. I could hear my cat scratching at something. That's something I could hear. But as you see, as we go down to the different senses, I've kind of tweaked it so it's less of. Because, I mean, if you're just sitting in a room by yourself, can you really just taste five things? Just, it's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really work. So the next one would be notice two things you can smell. Bring your awareness to smells that you usually filter out, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant. Perhaps the breeze is carrying a whiff of pine trees if you're outside, or the smell of a fast food restaurant across the street. Those are, pretty easy examples right there. My sinuses are all blocked up, so I really can't smell anything right now. And then finally, taste. And this one I just put, notice one thing you can taste, because that might be a tougher one, unless you're actually eating something at the moment. Focus on one thing you can taste right now at this moment. You can take a sip of a drink, chew a piece of gum, eat something, notice the current taste in your mouth, or even open your mouth and search the air for a taste. I don't know. I guess I can use this for an example then. So I got water. It tastes like water. So it's a really simple activity, but it really is right at the heart of mindfulness. So it definitely works. Just to kind of expand on the thing that I was talking about before with the mindful eating. One little I don't want to say experiment. One example, I guess. They talk about taking a raisin and putting a raisin in your mouth, and chewing the raisin and noticing the texture of it. How it feels in your mouth, the taste of it, any sensations you get from it. Really similar to the stuff we were talking about. But the kind of whole point of it is just to be in that moment, which is what mindfulness is all about, and really just experience everything that comes with it. So pretty simple examples, but let's see, I had one other thing I wanted to go over. I had one that talked about, I know not everyone out there are drivers, but a good amount are. And it was a way to incorporate mindfulness in driving, but I kind of decided not to go with that just because I don't want to send out a mixed message. Because a lot of times mindful and meditation, there's crossover, and I don't want to make it sound like, spacing out while driving is a good thing, because it's not. In that sense, it'd be more about really focusing on what you're doing. But again, I'm not going to go over that one just because, like I said, I don't want to send out confusing messages. This is a pretty interesting thing here. It's talked about rewiring your brain. This one sentence really jumped out at me. It said it's estimated that 95% of our behavior runs on autopilot, or something that's called fast brain. That's amazing. Our neural networks in our brain that underlie everything that we do and all of our habits. Just the amount of, brain power that goes into being able to you're basically just doing things without thinking. And as amazing as that is, it can also be dangerous. I can remember times where years ago I had to go into work really early in the morning, so a lot of times I just wasn't all awake yet. And there was times where I would get to work and not remember even driving there. And that's actually a really scary thought. But that kind of goes in with this whole, our autopilot, especially if it's a routine thing that we do constantly, every day. It really, it's an amazing and sometimes scary thing. But the reason I bring that up is because mindfulness is the exact opposite of this running on autopilot. If you want to call the autopilot thing fast brain, we could call mindfulness slow brain. Although I don't really like those terms. But people like to put different labels and explanations on things. But so it's I like this though, executive control rather than autopilot. That's a better sounding name for it. And of course, it takes practice. The more we activate the, I don't like that term slow brain, but that's what they're using. So the more we activate the slow brain, the stronger it gets. Every time we do something deliberate and new, we stimulate neuroplasticity, activating our gray matter, which is full of newly sprouted neurons that have not yet been groomed for the fast brain. All right, that's just like a whole bunch of fancy words there. So basically, we want to shift the balance to give your slower, more powerful brain activity. Yeah. Okay, I'm not even going to go into that there. It would just be more confusing. All right, so some of the suggestions I have here is trip over what you want to do. If you intend to do some yoga or to meditate, put your yoga mat or your meditation cushion in the middle of your floor so you can't miss it as you walk by. Okay, so they were talking literally there. When it said trip over what you want to do, I'm like, wait, is this some sort of funny explanation? But no, it was pretty literal. So they're saying put it in the middle. I don't know if I even like some of these examples. Refresh your triggers regularly. So decide to use sticky notes, remind yourself of a new intention. That might work for about a week, but then some of your old habits take over. So I guess what it's saying is instead of just doing like one sticky note and just leaving it there for you to look at, to keep rewriting it, to kind of keep that fresh in your mind, that makes more sense to me. This is a big one though. 3, create new patterns. Kind of goes into, trying to get out of your comfort zone. And they give a couple of examples here, like ways to shift into mindfulness as you get into your normal day. So, say the phone rings, take the time to take a breath before answering it. Kind of just set yourself. And then it goes into some more specific things about mindfulness workouts, activating your mind and your muscles. I won't go into all that, but I might maybe for another stream focus on that in particular. There's some pretty good things in this article, but I don't agree with everything in it. But it's interesting at the very least. It looks like my internet is starting to not be cooperative with me. So on my screen, I'm frozen. I don't know if it's still up and running here, but I guess that's all I'm going to do today. If you guys can still hear, I'm going to wrap it up. Next week, I think I'm going to focus more specifically on the working in physical activity into mindfulness. But anyways, I hope you're all doing well, and I can't wait to see you all. Take care.